The more bad things happen in your life, the more you start to... I heard from a guy recently, maybe mid-40s, who said, I used to think I was unlucky, but now I'm wondering if I'm actually cursed. He wasn't joking. His business had failed, his marriage had ended, and he'd just been diagnosed with a chronic illness. He wasn't looking for sympathy. He was genuinely trying to make sense of it all. I think most of us have already hit that point where coincidence stops making sense in our lives. You get heartbroken several times, then you keep losing money, then you keep failing. Sometimes you laugh it off. When it rains, it pours, right? But then it keeps happening. The bad luck doesn't let up. And you start to question yourself. Is this normal? Is this just life, or is something else going on? We're raised on stories of heroes who face their demons and emerge victorious. So when life keeps kicking us while we're down, we feel, what? Confused? Angry? Like we're doing something wrong? Society tells us to stay positive, to keep pushing forward. But there comes a point where positivity feels like denial, and moving forward feels like walking into a disaster. Some people turn to religion or spirituality, looking for answers, others to self-help books or therapy. And some just give up. They accept that life is inherently unfair and cruel. None of these approaches are inherently right or wrong. They're just different ways of trying to make sense of the senseless. I've seen people crack under the weight of repeated misfortune. I've also seen people transform in ways that defy explanation. There was this woman I knew, call her Sarah. In the span of a single year, she lost her entire family in a tragic fire accident. Her husband and 2 kids, her life's work, all gone in the flames. As if that was not enough, she was diagnosed with a rare, debilitating disease a few months later. You'd expect her to be consumed by nostalgia, won't you? But the last time I saw her, she was leading a groundbreaking research team, using her personal tragedy as motivation to find cures for others. She told me, I've stared into the abyss of human suffering. Now, I'm pulling others back from the edge. Now, I'm not saying Sarah's response is the right one. There's no universal right answer to suffering. But her story reacts with me because it challenged my assumptions about how people react to ongoing hardship. The more bad things happen in your life, the more you're forced to confront who you really are. Not who you think you should be or who others expect you to be, but who you are at your core. It's easy to be kind when life is good. It's easy to be generous when you have plenty. But who are you when you're scraping the bottom? Who are you when it feels like the universe itself is against you? Some people find strength they never knew they had. Others discover a capacity for endurance that borders on superhuman. And yes, some people break. But even in breaking, there's potential for rebuilding. Here's what I've come to believe. The more bad things happen in your life, the more you become a distilled version of yourself. Like water boiling away, leaving only the essential elements behind. For better or worse, hardship strips away pretense. It forces authenticity. You might not like what you see when all your protective layers are peeled away, but at least it's real. So what do we do with this? How do we navigate a life that seems determined to break us? I don't have a neat, tidy answer. I don't think anyone does. But I do think there's value in asking the question, in examining our responses to hardship, in being honest about our struggles instead of hiding behind a face of perpetual optimism. The more bad things happen in your life, the more you have to decide who you want to be in the face of adversity. Will you become bitter or better? Will you close yourself off or open yourself up to deeper connections? Will you let your experiences defeat you? Or will you use them as fuel for growth and change? I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. It's messy and painful, and sometimes it feels impossible. But I do believe we have more control than we think. Not over what happens to us, but over how we integrate those experiences into our lives. So the next time life knocks you down, and it will, take a moment, breathe, and ask yourself, who do I want to be in this moment? How can I use this to become more fully myself? It won't make the pain go away. It won't solve all your problems, but it might just help you find meaning in the madness. And sometimes that's enough to keep going.